All right, so today we're starting with 1 point perspective. Let me explain what that means. So I'm going to write up here 1 point perspective. We have a couple of vocabulary words we're going to be working with. They are horizon, vanishing point, and converging lines. All right, does anybody? Let's start off with a pre-knowledge check. Does anybody know what the horizon is? Yeah. Good. Okay. So if we think about the sky and the ground, right? They both kind of go out in front of us, right? And eventually they're going to meet, and that's going to happen at about eye level, which means it's going to happen in the middle of our paper. So we'll talk a little bit more about these ideas, but for now, just understand that we want, for 1 point perspective, to have our horizon about the middle level of the paper. We don't want it too high or too low. It's going to mess things up. How about vanishing point? Does anybody know what a vanishing point is? Yeah. Sure.
So, like, if you're looking at a road, it's how far you can see it go.
Yeah, good. So let's think about that. So one of the concepts we talked about a little bit is the idea that the farther something is away from you as the viewer, the smaller it's going to appear to be, right? So perspective uses this concept a lot. So don't draw this. I'm going to draw it, but I'm going to erase it later. So if I have a road on the ground, it's going to start off looking really wide at the bottom of the page, and it's going to get skinnier and skinnier until it hits the horizon, where it's going to look like it disappears. That's why we call it the vanishing point, because it looks like it's where the road vanishes. Okay? So we want to draw a dot in the middle of the horizon. You might even measure, and we'll place the vanishing point right there. Okay. So we're going to start out drawing boxes today. Just simple boxes, because that's a good place to start with perspective. So here's our simple box, or a simple box, a simple sample box, if you will. So I want you to notice 3 parts of the box. We have sides, okay, which is a plane, right? It's a face, a surface. We have edges, right, which are these corners, but they're corners that go in lines, right? And then we have corners, right? So we have 3 parts: surface, edge, corner, okay? And we use a different perspective technique to determine, depending on which part of the box is facing us. So we use 1 point perspective when we have the surface facing us, okay? So when we have a flat area, a flat surface facing us, that's when we use 1 point perspective. So there's something I want to show you. One of the tricks that we need to learn to use perspective correctly, to use linear perspective correctly, is knowing which sides of the box to draw. Okay? So I want you to notice here that when I have the box in the center of the horizon line covering the vanishing point, you can't see any of the sides. You can only see the front that's facing you. Right? When I move the box down, you can see the top of the box as well as the front. When I move it up, it reverses and you can see the bottom of the box. Okay? When I move it to the right, you can see the left side of the box over here. When I move it to the left, you can see the right-hand side of the box over here. Does that make sense? When I move it diagonally, you'll be able to see two sides of the box. So up here, you can see the left side and the bottom. All right? So it's always opposite to the direction that I move it. If I move it up and right, I'll be able to see the left side and the bottom. Okay? All right, so now we're going to draw some boxes. So draw with me. We're going to start off by drawing a clear box to sort of show you what all of the edges of the box will look like. Now normally we won't draw clear boxes. We'll probably draw a lot more opaque boxes, meaning non-clear. But we'll start with a clear one to make it easy. So let's use the tools we have. Let's use the ruler here. And we want to make just a square in this lower right-hand quadrant. So we want our square to have straight, vertical, and horizontal edges. We want it to be as close to perfect as possible. All right? So we want to draw our boxes in a specific order. And the order we want to draw them is front, so that's the side that's facing you, sides, and that will include the top and the bottom, okay, and back in that order. So next we're going to draw the sides. So the sides are going to use what we call converging lines. Let's explain what a converging line is. So when I look at my box here, right, we want to remember that things that are closer to us are going to look bigger than things that are farther away. So this edge here is closer to us than this edge here. So this edge is going to need to be a little longer than this edge here. So in order to do that, that's going to mean that these edges that are moving away from our plane of vision, away from our eyes, are going to be angled. And they're going to be angled in a special way so that they all point towards the vanishing point in the center here. Okay? So I'm going to draw just a dotted line just to show that converging line. So that would be the converging line to that corner. That would be the converging line to that corner. That one goes to that corner. And since we're drawing a clear box, I'm going to draw this one too. Okay? So these are my converging lines. The reason they're called converging lines, converge means to come together. And they all come together at the vanishing point here. They all converge there. So they're all at different angles, but they're all pointing towards the same spot. So if I took my ruler here and I tacked it down with my finger right on the vanishing point, I could just kind of rotate my ruler around, and it should line up with all of my converging lines all the way around the drawing. All right, so next I'm going to draw on the sides of the box. So for this, I'll go ahead and just on those dotted lines, I'm going to make them a little more solid. I'm not going to go too far back. Okay, so it's kind of hard to know how far to make these converging lines go back from your initial square here. I say just make sure you draw enough and you can erase the extra. So then I want to draw the back. The back of the box is also going to be made out of vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, so I want to get this line here as close as I can to vertical. I'm going to connect the top edge up here and the bottom edge on the left side. And then from this spot here, where the back edge meets up with this converging line, From that corner, I'm going to draw a horizontal line going over to the right. And I want this to be as close to horizontal as possible. Okay, I'm going to draw one vertically, one going horizontally. Hopefully if I did that right, they all connect more or less. Okay. And I can erase my extra. So here's my clear box. So this is in 1-point perspective. So the sides that are facing towards me are horizontal and vertical. They're just squares or rectangles. The sides that are moving away from me have bigger edges on the close side and smaller edges on the far side. And that's the idea. All right, so now we're going to practice. We're going to draw some more. What did I do first? Draw another one up here in the upper right-hand corner. So I want horizontal lines and vertical lines, as perfect as I can get them. So this one will draw an opaque box, so it's not going to be clear. Not going to be able to see through it. We'll start with our square or rectangle. Now we're going to draw our converging lines. So remember, front of the box first, and then sides. All right, these are our converging lines. And then I can decide how thick I want the box to be. So I can make this one really thin. So I'm going to adjust it and move my horizontal line way up there. Draw that. I'm going to make a vertical line going up from that corner. And I can just erase the extra here. So since this one is opaque, I'm going to shade it. So I'm going to make the light coming from above and to the left. So I'm going to shade the underside dark. I'm going to shade the front medium. The left-hand side will be light because it's facing into the light. So now I'm going to draw one below the vanishing point. So remember, if my box is on the vanishing point, I'm only going to be able to see the front. If it's below the vanishing point, I'm going to be able to see the top, but I'm not going to be able to see the left or right side. Okay? So, probably use my ruler if I'm going to make you do it. Alright, so we start with our rectangle, making the sides as perfectly vertical and horizontal as we can. We're going to draw our converging lines. So again, we do the front hand side or the front side first, and then the sides. This time we only have one side to do, and that's the top. Then we're going to connect those with a horizontal line. Erase any extra we have. All right. So next one, if we draw one that's on the horizon line, our box. If I take this and move it over, but it's still on the horizon, I'm going to be able to see the left-hand side, but I won't be able to see the top or the bottom. Sketch that in. These clear rulers are really good for this because I can see my other lines I've drawn and I can get everything square. I don't have very many of them anymore because they got stolen and broken because teenagers are bad. Not any of you guys. Last year, everybody was so bad though. And then I'm going to draw my converging lines. So first I draw the front. This is my front. Then I draw the sides. I use converging lines to draw them. Well, I put in way more converging line than I needed. And then we'll draw the back. So we only see one edge of the back since we only see one side. But it'll be a vertical line. Okay? So follow that order, right? Front, which is all going to be horizontal and vertical lines. Sides, which are going to be converging lines. And then back, which is, again, going to be all horizontal and vertical. All right, so we've drawn 4 so far. So I want you to draw 4 more. One here, above the vanishing point. One over here, above and to the left. One here, to the left. And one here, below and to the left. All right? So I'll come around and try to help you out if you need it. But I want you to keep working on those. Don't just stop now because I stopped drawing in front of you. We'll get back together on this in a second. All right, everybody, let's take a look at these. So I finished mine. I hope that you got yours done too. We're going to kind of check them, okay? So here's what we're looking for, right? Let's look at all of our boxes. Okay. We should have a couple of things going on. So for the fronts, the side that's closest to us, we should have all horizontal lines or vertical lines for all of our boxes, okay? Then, for the sides, we should have converging lines. So we should be able to do that thing where we take our ruler, we tack our finger down, and these line up with the vanishing point. So I'm putting my finger on the vanishing point, so my ruler's always touching the vanishing point. And then I'm rotating it so that it goes different angles. And all of the converging lines should line up with my ruler when I do this, eventually. Okay? So that's what we're looking for. So if that's not happening, either your angles are a little bit off because you're not aiming at the vanishing point or you're drawing the wrong side. So let's remember which sides to draw. Okay? When our box is on the vanishing point, we're only going to draw the front. It's overlapping it, covering it up. Okay? When it's up above, we're going to draw the front and the bottom. When it's down below, we'll draw the front and the top. So it's opposite the direction it goes. All right? So if you think about a box, you're not going to be able to see what's inside of a box unless you're taller than the box, right? If you have a box that's 7 feet tall, you're not going to be able to see into it from standing on the floor. All right? When we move it to the left, or sorry, to the right, we're going to see the left-hand side. When we move it to the right, we're going to see the left-hand side. So you're going to see opposite sides of the boxes when they're on opposite sides of the vanishing point or the horizon, right? So you're not going to see the left-hand side of every box. The boxes that are over here, you won't see the left-hand side. You'll see the right-hand side instead. All right? When it moves down and to the left, you'll be able to see the top and the right, up and to the right, the bottom and the left, etc. Okay? So you'll always be able to see the sides that are between the front and the vanishing point. All right? So if you have lines that are not going to the vanishing point, that are not converging properly, that's probably what the issue is. Last thing we want to check and make sure of is that the back edges of any of the boxes are horizontal and vertical. So any of these edges that are the furthest edges back, those should all be either horizontal or vertical. So we want to check those as well. Okay? So try to self-check your work as much as you can. I think I looked at most of yours and helped you out if you wanted help. But I'd rather you be able to self-check it and solve your own problems. So go through a quick self-check and see if you can find any mistakes you made.